welcome back to Crimson Glass on YouTube. It is June 1st, 2020, and it is time to talk about the site and story status, like we do every month. I am filming this on May 31st, 2020, and if you live in the world, you know that I feel like the last thing I want to do is make a video about the status of the world, because the status of my personal world, because the first thing I usually talk about in these videos is what are things that are affecting my writing. And I have been sitting here for the last half hour trying to make this video because like 5 people who watch this video, and I really don't want me to talk. I don't know. The world is terrible. It's marginally better than it was when I grew up. Even where I live in a really white city, and it's not by choice. It's just this is where my parents live, and it's fine. It's getting better. It used to be 99 point like something white, and now it's I think it's down to 90, which is better. Like that's like better. And it's good, and I'm happy for that. Like I teach now in the district where I went to school with, and my student population is so much more diverse than my own experience growing up, and that's great. Like I'm so excited that my nieces, my nephews are in the same district, and they know more people of color by the age of 8 than I did by the time I was 18. So that's great. So that's something. That's, you gotta focus on the good. You gotta focus on what you gotta focus on literally what you can do. I can't go out and protest because I have breathing issues, and I don't think that I would be useful. I don't know, like you go out and you look and I don't think it would be useful. I think I've donated what money I can where I can, but I've signed the petitions. I have retweeted. Which seems like not a lot. And I don't want to bog this down. Like I filmed like 8 versions of this where I kind of like try to figure out how to explain. Like I'm just distracted because I'm also, for those of you guys who've been following me for a really long time, you know that I am a historian. Like I'm a social studies teacher, but by like training, like I have a graduate degree in American and a double degree. I'm a historian by trade. Like that's what I've been trained to do. And so living through, when you start to realize you're living through a chapter of the textbook. And like it's not even just one chapter. It's like it's gonna be like the textbook. We're gonna have a whole year on just what happened in 2020. So if we had made this video a couple of days ago, if we had made this video a week ago, I would have told you that the state of my writing is it's fine. I had a health issue for most of April and May that I was not aware of until it was over. It's one of those things where like it was just I couldn't decide if I was actually sick or if I was just tired all the time. And it turns out, yes, I was tired all the time, but I was tired all the time because I was dealing with not a major health issue, because it's not major enough for me to go to, a medical center at this point, but like it was major enough that like it affected my world. I had no energy to do anything. I could not stare at a screen. I was getting migraines all the time. It's resolved itself. It's fine. We're done. I haven't had a serious migraine in almost 2 weeks. I'm like super excited about that. So writing wise, status wise, we are good. So there's that. And it's kind of really all I need to say on that. So we'll get into the site and story stuff. The site and channel. So first things first on the channel. I am going to be releasing the Mad World series. I had filmed a couple of versions of it, but I had filmed that version. I had filmed all that before, like, I don't know. I had to redo some of it. I'm going to be doing just a vlog like I did when I was editing Broken Girl. I'm going to be making one of those for writing, planning, and doing Mad World. And that's really what I'll be doing on the channel, is just Mad World videos, and we'll be back here in July with another video. And then on the site, I'm actually pretty excited. We're going to be doing something new. I'm going to be moving over Mad World from its own little, because right now it's its own like WordPress installation, which means when I update Mad World, I have to update it over there, put an update post on that site, and then I have to come back to Crimson Glass and put another update up. So like I have to make 3 posts when I should only have to make 2, and like it's a pain in my butt. And I did that because I wanted it to have its own theme. I wanted it to feel separate, and I have 2 other projects that are like that. Damaged and Hand Me Down. Damaged is being rewritten, so I was going to take that one down anyway, and then Hand Me Down is like, it doesn't really have enough content yet to really justify having its own subsection, but it's one of those things where like it's a project I've been working on for a really long time. It always had its own subsection on the site, so I just continued it when I moved it over. So I found a plugin that works for WordPress where I can have multiple themes and activate them only on certain pages and posts. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it all under one thing, but each story is going to have like its own theme. Mad World's going to have its own theme. Like I'm going to like that's my summer project is really just like overhauling the face, giving like Crimson Glass a facelift, updating the coding, making sure all the pages they make sense, that they're current. Some of the stuff I haven't updated since I moved it over in 2014. Some of the story pages are a little messy. So there's just like housekeeping stuff that when I'm working, I never really have the time for. So that's going to be done this summer. That's the site and that's the channel. So let's talk about individual stories. And before we get into Broken Girl and Mad World and everything else, I want to kind of talk about a new thing that I'm going to be doing on the site going forward. So the way I write is really intense and it's really involved and the stories are really, really long. And I never really have time or energy to write shorter stories. At the Patreon site, I have a tier that my top tier is for $10 a month. You can request me to write a story idea. Like you'll give me a story idea and write it. I owe 4 of them because I have been, just like it's been one of those years. And my Patreons have been incredibly patient. I love you. Thank you. But I do want to get them done. So I looked at the list of requests that I had and I merged them together and I thought, what is a way I can kind of make this happen without taking a lot of time and attention away from my novels and have it actually be, functional? And how can I maybe bring back flash fiction? Because I actually do really miss writing flash fiction. It's a nice, I would like to have a writing thing that is less low pressure. It's less pressure than my regular novel chapters. It's fun for you guys, and I don't get to write a lot of alternate universe. I don't get to write a lot of fun stuff. I don't really get to get into anything. So I took a couple of ideas that I had that I knew that were not long enough for novels. And I decided I'm going to do flash fiction series. Now, the reason why my flash fictions have never really been able to sustain themselves, why I'll do them for a little bit and then I'll disappear again, is I am not an impulse writer. Shocking, right? I can write really fast, but I have to have the idea. And I don't like to have my own prompts. Like I really was great on the canvas when someone else would give me a prompt. I could never run that shit. Like you had to give me a prompt. Without the prompt, I wasn't going to do it. So I have taken the 3 ideas, and what I did was I sat down and I wrote a short outline. I wrote, okay, what is my premise? Who are the characters? How are they related to each other? And what is the ending? Now that I know those 4 things, I can write a flash fiction where I can just I can write the next part in that story. Like I can pants a story if I know the bare bones of it, if that makes sense, because they're not complicated ideas. So I'm going to be taking 3 ideas and then 3 times a week, you're going to get a flash fiction. And a flash fiction is going to be whatever I write in 20 minutes, I'm going to post. So on Tuesday and Thursday, you will get, I think I'm going to write, I don't know, I haven't decided which ones are going to be which. And then on Saturday or Sunday, like it'll go back and forth on Saturdays or Sunday. I don't know which day it'll be. Probably Saturday, so like I have Sunday for like a day of rest. And that's kind of what we'll do. And it'll be 20 minutes 3 times a week. And like I can manage that. Like, that's what people say you should exercise. So the 3 ideas that I'm going to come out with first are I'm going to take Desperate Measures, which was a 2-parter that I wrote last year for flash fiction, but I didn't go anywhere with it because I kind of hadn't sat down and figured it out. And I can't live in a world where I don't figure it out. Like I am physically incapable of being a pantser without, I need to be a planter where I need to have some sort of structure before I can move on. And then I'm going to take another idea that I briefly did in a flash fiction, like maybe 6 or 7 months ago, where Steven works for Sunny. He's disappeared and Sunny's wife is dead and Jason and Elizabeth are divorced and they come back to Port Charles to deal with all of that. And I'm going to take that and run with that. And then the third thing is going to be an alternate universe, which is one of my Patreon requests. It's going to be it's going to be like a sweet little romance. And I'm going to write all 3 of those series. And then when they are done, I'm going to take them, I'm going to clean them up, and then I'm going to put them out as a short story, as a novel, novella, whatever they end up being, that's what we'll go with. And that's a way to kind of give you guys more content. So you're just not getting the books a couple times a year. You're actually getting more content from me on a weekly basis, which I think is great. So Flash Fiction starts June 2nd, tomorrow. When am I going to, how do I keep myself accountable? So the way I do it is I start the timer at home for myself, but I post it on Twitter when I'm starting it. And I could start it at 7, I could start it at 8. I don't know. It's really going to depend. So if you follow me on Twitter, I will post my flash hey, starting the timer. I'll be back in 20 minutes or back in 25 minutes because I have to post. But that's how I'll do it. So that's the new thing that's coming this summer is we're going to be bringing back Flash Fiction, but we're going to bring it back in a sustained, planned way that I can cope with. All right, so let's get into individual big updates. So Broken Girl, I am writing this with the confidence of somebody who is done. We have closed the door on Broken Girl book 1. The only thing left to do is to finish formatting the ebook, and like there's a couple of things that I just style-wise I need to fix. The majority of it is done, and I'm going to be giving it out to my Patreons over the next month. But before I put it out for the general public, there's just a couple of like tweaks I want to figure out how to style the line. I don't know. I want to figure out like a one specific type of. I can just figure out how to style one thing. I could put the sucker out tomorrow, but you know, my Patreons will get like the lesser version. That's the wrong way to say it. There's one piece of style that I am going to like spend the next 6 weeks perfecting. If I perfect it tonight, they'll get it in time for tomorrow. If I don't perfect it for 2 weeks, like there we are. Right. So that's it. That's all I have to do left on book 1. So book 1 is done. I finished editing it. I have uploaded it for the Patreons, the posting draft, the beta draft, the alpha draft, all those have been given. I have also scheduled all of the chapters, and my friends, not only did I schedule all of the chapters, I actually scheduled the update posts. I have 48 scheduled posts on Crimson Glass right now. We are ready. I could die tomorrow, and you bastards are still gonna get this stupid story. What a die tomorrow. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I could get sick tomorrow. The really good thing about this is, like, I could get sick. I could, my computer could die, my internet, I could lose my job, and my internet could get shut off. You guys will still get the story no matter what happens to me. Does that make you feel better? I'm sorry, that wasn't supposed to sound like it's. I'm still going to post it on Archive of Our Own. I'm still going to post it on fanfiction.net. Like, that's still a thing I have to do every morning because, like, you can't schedule chapters there. But it's, like, not a big deal if I don't do them right away. It's a bigger deal if they're not available on Crimson Glass. So, they're available. Yay! Book 2. We'll get into book 2 at the very end of this video, but the good news is, unlike my Mad World book 3 project where I didn't know what the fuck I was writing, book 2 is mostly figured out. Ironically, I have spent a lot of time over the last couple of years writing about the incompetence of police and the way that they shit on women. So, like, I guess we're continuing that theme because book 2 is going to deal with the PCPD being not great at dealing with a brother in blue who is a domestic abuser. Huh. I don't know what that's about. I don't know why my themes. I mean, okay, I do know what that's about. It's like I watch the news, and my only way to process what I'm watching is to write it, and that's where we are. So, book 2 is actually figured out. I don't know the nuts and bolts. Like, I know the nuts and bolts in it, but I don't know nitty gritty. Like how I know point A to Z. I don't know all 26 and like 22, like whatever. I don't know every single step of it, but like I know the big stuff. I know how I want it to end. I know Act 1. I know Act 2. I know Act 3. I know the big stuff, which is great. So we are in good shape. I will talk about when you're going to get book 2 at the end when we talk about my larger production schedule. So Mad World. You are still getting book 3. Relax. I am not going to have book 3 for you until October. To make up for that, when I do drop book 3 in October, you will get the whole book at once. All at once. I am starting the alpha draft tomorrow. And so what I did was I looked at my process and I looked at Broken Girl and like really tried, like I've spent 7 months just on Broken Girl. We played a little bit with Mad World here and there, but like sustained, I have done nothing but Broken Girl since November. Did I need 7 months to write it? No, because November and December are kind of a wash and most of January is a wash. So out of that 7 months, I really, what you ended up reading is literally 4.5 months of work. And it probably would have been 4 months of work had I not gotten sick in early March. And then the pandemic, right? And if I had just done a couple of, like, it probably would not have taken, but February, March, April, and May. 4 months, done. So I figured 4 months, 6 to 8 weeks for a first draft and then 6 to 8 weeks on revisions. And like that does build in enough time for me to get sick again, or it does build enough time for me to take a day here and there. I took entire weeks off this month from doing Mad World, the Broken Girl. Like, for 2 straight weeks in May, I did nothing, and then I managed to edit, like, 15 chapters in the last week. So, 4 months actually, and doing 6 to 8, almost 2 months of full that it being just editing, actually builds in a ton of buffer for me to lose my shit and then get it back together. So it's great. So, which means June and July are going to be the alpha draft, and then August and September are going to be the editing. Now, I could finish the alpha draft in June, and then I could be working on editing in August and September. you're still going to get it in October because I'm going to give myself that 4 months in case I want to take some time and I want to slow down and keep the pressure off myself. I am not going to change my mind on what day. It's going to be either the first or second week. I have to look at the dates and figure out how they work out. After Mad World Book 3, I am going to go into Fool Me Twice Book 1, and then that'll be out in February. So my release dates at the moment are October, February, May, September, January. So for the next year, you should get 1, 2, 3, 4. I lost track already. So it's gonna be Fool Me Twice Book 1 after. It's gonna be Mad World finishing the trilogy, and then Fool Me Twice Book 1, and then we're gonna do Damaged in May, and then in September you're gonna get Broken Girl Book 2. And then after Broken Girl Book 2, I'm gonna go back and do Book 2 for Feels Like Home, Fool Me Twice. And then we're finally gonna get to do Feels Like Home, because I'd always said I have to write it before 2024, or this is really gonna be stupid. And then I'm gonna finish off the trilogy of Fool Me Twice Book 3. I have a longer production schedule. I'll put it out so you can actually see the dates, but like that's the plan. Is 4 months per book, which gives me a lot of buffer time and like soups in, and like it accounts for finishing a project in less than 4 months, and it also accounts for finishing a project in a little less, like a little more than 4 months. So it kind of like it'll end up balancing out and letting me stick to my goals. So to backtrack, to recap, my writing is fine as long as I can, focus, and some days I can actually focus. So that's that. The channel is going to get a Mad World series coming at you. I'm not sure which days, but it's going to be like once or twice a week. And then we are going to have a facelift at Crimson Glass where I use multiple themes and I move Mad World over. Broken Girl Book 1 is done. It is scheduled. It is ready to go. Mad World, you'll be getting that in October. And then after that, we will getting into Fool Me Twice, finally, because I know there's some of you guys who've been waiting for it, and I've been waiting for it too. All right, so that is your Sight and Status story update for June. I hope when I check in with you guys in July that I'm not sitting another month telling you I hope it's getting better. I hope it's mildly better. I'm not looking for great now. I'm just looking for, passable. That's the standard. All right, take care of each other, guys. Stay safe. Stay safe. I'll see you guys in July.